All right, so we're back and we're getting into the last segment we've got here, which is going to be a little less structured, maybe. Just a little bit of tussling about what AI is, some of the things in the future, trying to talk a bit about what we think the personal implications are, maybe a little bit. So I really want to start with something that's maybe a little bit more practical in the context of all that we're talking about, which is really a discussion around human in the loop, where specifically technical writers like fit in the future of content production, and then talk a little bit about Centaurs.
Awesome. I love good Centaur. So, well, why don't we start with what's a Centaur?
Okay, so this is not my concept. I'm repeating this from somebody much smarter than I am, although I can't name them right now.
Yeah.
I don't remember their name. That's why I can't name them. But I'll try to find. I don't even think the article that I read about this was the original source, so it might be lost to time. The point is that a centaur, mythologically or conceptually, is a human head on some other physical entity's body, right? So it could be some type of mythical creature, or it could be a robot. That's the concept of a centaur. And one of the things that's coming,
it's been updated to be a robot.
Yeah, I mean, but things evolve, right? That's
Sure.
how
All right.
culture works. Yeah,
Modern Centaur.
Modern centaur. So one of the things that's come up recently in the debate about AI is this thing called a reverse centaur, which is kind of scary, admittedly. What it is it's a robot head on a human body. And the thing that's kind of scary about it is that this exists today already.
And has for years.
It has for years, but it's gotten creepier.
It's coming for the white collar jobs is the thing that's freaking people out.
But it's also gotten more fully in control in the not white collar jobs. Like, I think that's the bit that it's kind of crossed that the plane of discomfort. I'm not using
Okay, so let's put it more concretely. So if you're an Amazon warehouse worker, you can you're feeling like a reverse centaur because
you are a reverse centaur.
Yeah, or you're or a driver or like an Uber driver. You're an app tells you what to do and when, for whom, etc., and where to go. Your entire job is executing what a machine is telling you to do.
Yeah.
No one at Uber knows where you're going, knows who you're it's all after the fact. It's the machine that drives the operation. It's only you who literally drive the car or picks the box off the shelf or does what. I don't know what Amazon workers actually do anymore. Human Amazon workers do in a warehouse anymore. But we know that there's a lot of it is being driven by machine decisions.
Absolutely. And if you want to really pick this apart, which I think at this part of the day we do, you could make the argument that, an Amazon driver or a UPS driver, they had their deliveries scheduled in the morning. They had a map, like they were told where to go by dispatch. Like they had very precise timings if you go back 10, 20, 30 years, whatever it may be. So in a lot of ways, like that person was still executing to a set of instructions. I think the thing where it's kind of entering that uncanny valley, there's like a bunch of different terms for it, but I think that's the most common one, where things starting to feel weird is that there's not really a human in the loop there, where the machine is really making all of the decisions and the people are just doing the execution.
Yeah.
And that's when the reverse centaur starts to become, in my view, it becomes more of a social problem and one that we have to start thinking about. And then, as you said, as we were getting into this, why do we suddenly care so much more? Well, it's because, the fear is that it's coming for the white collar jobs. And make your own judgments about whether or not that's the right time to be concerned. But I think that's why it's starting to pop up in the conversation.
Yeah. So I think what is the role? So we take this back to technical communicators. I think a lot of technical communicators are fearing what's happening to some developers, software developers as well, is that rather than being the ones who decide what words to put on the page, they decide which of the AI's words to keep. So AI's generate the content, AIs generate the code, and then a human sits there and goes, no, I wouldn't do that, or that's a mistake, etc. So I've literally seen LinkedIn posts that say, I do not want my career to be editing AI output like that. Like, kill me now. So I think that's what we're talking about the stress.
But we have to acknowledge the fact that like there's a gravity to this.
It's extremely, the economics are very hard to argue. So if you're the person who's employing these people and you're like, okay, I can have one person creating the same deliverables that 10 did, if all that one person does all day is edit AI output, it's hard to counter that argument. It's so, and I don't have an easy out from this one. Like, I don't want to tell people, oh, see, what you do is, and then you're going to save your job.
This is the one section of this whole thing where we've all sat down and said, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to say here.
Yeah, we don't have solutions for you. What I have seen, so we're like, I do AI training, and I literally I got that email. I got that email from someone who was a trainee and said, my team went from 30 to 3 when my company went all in on AI. Like 9 in 10 people were axed. And it was your training course that helped me keep my job. It's because I knew how to configure agents. I knew how to create purposeful configurations of AI, create and automate my processes that made me one of the 3 and not the 27.
So I hate that story.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, no, I know, I understand that. But I think there is a better version of this, and this is the most, I think hopeful but also accurate way of looking at this that I've seen. So, in this opinion piece that I read, and again, I'm blanking on the name of the author for this one, was talking about. So if we were in a world where they said, okay, we're going to have AI agents who are going to evaluate your MRI scans, and the AI agents aren't perfect, so whatever it may be, and a radiologist is going to review them, and then the AI is going to review them, and when the AI potentially catches something the radiologist doesn't, it's going to tap the radiologist in the shoulder and say, hey, have another look here. Maybe the AI is wrong, but the radiologist in that circumstance working with the AI is like, oh, well, okay. But the reality is that's more work than the radiologist was originally going to do.
Yeah.
However, it's probably going to catch a number of situations. So if a radiologist could do 100 scans a day with AI, improving its results, it being the radiologist AI combination, maybe the radiologist can only do 95 a day. So it's actually more, you need more radiologists because they can't do as many, but they catch more cancer.
So there's the end of that story, and I'm so glad you brought that story up because I just was reflecting on that story, is they catch more cancer, they can process more patients, the hospital makes more money, therefore they can hire more radiologists. So the positive, and for me, what I try to...
Well, I'm not sure they process more patients, but patients may pay a little bit more because their cancer gets caught at a higher rate.
Could be.
Yeah.
My point is value, not volume.
Right.
So when are the times you do keep the team of 30? It's when the leadership says, we don't want to do the same for 70% or whatever, 90% less. We want to do 90% more. We want to do 300% more than we've ever been able to do before. So you 30 people, we're going to empower you all so each of you has the output of 30 people. And so now we have this incredible capacity to deliver solutions that we've never delivered before. So that is the good possibility here. We will, this people were, everything we've talked about in all the previous episodes. They need people who understand structure, understand how to translate user requirements into structure, understand how to evaluate what good looks like, to give it to an AI. So I don't know who was it who said AI isn't coming from. I think Sam Altman, who I am not a fan of, but I think he's the one who said AI is not coming for your job; it's coming for your job role. Actually, it might have been Amir Faizpour, who was on one of my Truth Collapse episodes. We don't have security of job. You might have security of job, but not security of job role. So your tasks may change, but if your job changes with an AI, so that you are delivering more deliverables, delivering more value with that work, then that's the positive outcome, where you're being enhanced and given an ability to deliver a better solution in the market, so the company makes more money, and they not only want to keep you employed, they want to grow.
Right.
That's, for me, that's always a problem with innovative technologies. One group goes, "Oh, we can fire humans.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome, profit margin," and then the other group goes, "The other way to succeed is to win the market by delivering a better solution." I can't tell you which kind of company you work for. That's kind of where we're both going. Is that it would be a lie to say that there aren't companies out there where the leadership is going to take the cheap route rather than the better route. And
it's going to be a cycle.
It's going to be a cycle. They're going to twiddle the dials.
Yeah.
As we've seen already, some people are going to twiddle the dial down and they go, oops, and then try to twiddle the dial back up.
The thing that I think has been, so one of the things that I do every time I present at a conference on this and people get into this discussion is I say, all right, everybody in this room who's almost always technical writers, raise your hand if you don't have more things to get done than you can possibly get done, more articles to write. And there's not a single hand that ever goes up.
Yeah, no one ever has enough time.
Right. No, like everybody has more content to create to cover the cases.
More work to do.
More work to do.
It's not just content creation.
Fair. That's fair. So more work to do, but the end result is, like you can never produce full coverage, or even anything close. So I think the right implementation is the one that scales up the amount that you produce. But also, when you think about it, if you don't have a human making judgment calls about, oh, this is the right article for the right product in the right context, and it's being made for you, like just back to the radiology, like the parallel for the radiology example is that a human has to go and appropriately ensure that the tagging is right, that the structure is right, that all of the inputs are really, really, really clean, so that when the proper selection, you can be even higher confidence in the proper selections. So I think that in some ways, like some portions of the work will be reduced. Like there is some drafting, like the really simple, silly example is always short description. You ask a AI to write your short description based on your topic. For every reason, technical writers hate writing short descriptions. Mm-hmm. I guess I hate writing them too. So everybody hates writing short descriptions.
I already wrote the topic. I don't want to write the topic again in 2 sentences.
Exactly. And like it takes time.
It's
and whatever.
super hard.
Yeah. It's a terrible experience, even though you have to write it. So AI writing that is a perfect example of like low value. The work is low value, but the output is high value, and something else does it better.
The work is low pleasure. The output is high value.
Fair. That's a great clarification. But then there's also all the other pieces that like need human intervention to like get the metadata, the structure, the tagging, the information architecture right.
This raises a question: what is a tech writer? Because I've had tech writers who look at the situation, they look at customer journey maps, they analyze the user personas, they assess what is the best strategy for creating the right kind of information, delivering in the right format, in the right channel. And then I've got tech writers who take an engineer specification and they grammar check it and they format it.
Well, some of the tech writers that I talked to when I first got in this industry talked about typesetting, frankly.
That's what I mean by format it. Like they're just
right.
They're like it used to, like they would take the specs in Word and put them in a FrameMaker, or they take the whatever and put it into Data. And so they're doing, or like they're really good at catching commas. Like their English is darn fantastical. And right. That kind of tech writer, yeah, there's more of a threat. It's the ones who are doing more strategic work. So they like.
But if you speak to somebody who's getting into the profession today and you tell them that that's the profession, they would look at you with a blank stare.
Very true. Okay.
because it's not, one, and two, they wouldn't do that profession. So like, I mean, I think there's, it's generational in a lot of ways. And that's the wrong word because that sounds ageist, and that's not what I mean. When I say generational, I mean in the form of technology. It's a different generation of technology and skills. And a lot of technical writers, regardless of their physical human age, make that transition. Like some of the people that I speak to who are furthest along in this are people who are furthest along in their careers. Yeah, what is a tech writer? I think it's changing rapidly.
I think so. I think that those who will survive. There's a really great quote which I come back to a lot. The ones who will own the future, those who not are the ones who can learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Yeah.
Like if you're not open to the change that's coming, it's going to leave you behind.